I'm here with Coach Buchanan from the men's basketball team. I'm going to ask him a couple of questions today about the basketball team. How do you feel about your varsity group at this point in the season?
I feel pretty good about them. We have improved a lot since the beginning of December. The Christmas break has been good to us, and I feel like each and every day there's been strides to get better, and I think it has shown up both in practice and in games of the level of intensity and level of play. And what we've been doing so far has been looking good and progressing well.
That's good. We know that the season has had its ups and downs this year. What will be the key component to be successful the rest of the year?
Well, I think any team wants to be playing their best basketball at the end of the season, and I think that is one thing that this group has finally kind of figured out is, may have started off a little bit rough. Obviously, there was things that we could go back and say it was because of this or that, but in the end, it does not matter. It's more about how big of strides can we make and how much can we improve, and to be ready for the postseason. And I think we had some really good competition early that exposed a few of the weaknesses, but I think that's one of those things that is only going to help us in the end. I think it's shown already of the level of style, the level of play, and what we're capable of doing. Now it's just being able to do it more on a consistent basis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've noticed that the guys have been doing good lately. How do you feel about how the last few games have gone for the team?
Obviously, they've been a lot better. We've had two really good wins here. The last two games, beating two ranked opponents. Augusta was ranked number 4 in the state. Rose Hill was ranked number 9 in the state, and on both of those. But I think the key is to not be satisfied with those. We also showed areas that we still need to get better. But looking back, you compare those two games with things we had before Christmas, and everything we've talked about and things we've said. That improvement side it makes you appreciate the work they put in, so that way we can continue that progress, in the weeks to come and heading into Rupp term.
Yeah. Who do you think has been the most valuable player on the team this year?
You can say, point to different guys and the traits that they bring to the team. Obviously, Easton's leading us in scoring right now. You're leading us in rebounding right now. But we have, the components that go into it. Different guys in every game. There's been different guys in every game that have had really good games and that have kind of pulled the team forward a little bit. And so, stats as a whole, if you look at them game by game, they're different. And so, most consistent throughout all the games, Easton has done a good job. And that's kind of expected of him as well, just because of the experience side that he's been doing, or that he's had, over the last 4 years. He needs to take on that role. But, you talk about, some outside shooting. Barron's been doing a great job, and we talked about the rebounding, and, you can go with the hustle plays and get down the court, and, with Eli there, every single one of them has had some very key roles throughout the victories that, when you start taking out those individual components, we're not as successful all of a sudden. And so we've always been a team that, as you well know, that you can't necessarily just concentrate on one guy night in and night out. And I think that's why we value that team approach a lot. Of if we're going to be successful as a team, then we got to have multiple guys that are going to continue to play at a high level.
And who has really stepped up this year?
Again, that's going back game by game, all the way around. It's been, different games with different guys. Easton had 26 points last game. That was phenomenal. The game before he had a double-double. Phenomenal. Rebounds and points. Eli was in there, as a guard, and he almost led us in rebounds. So you get different guys with different different parts of their game that stand out. So I mean, it kind of changes every game, which is good. That makes us harder to prepare for.
Yeah. What have you seen in the last few games that the team needs to work on?
Hopefully I don't have to keep repeating it till the end of the season, and I'm sure you could name it for me. But it's going to be, talking and communicating with each other is going to be the biggest thing, because when we communicate as a team, things flow and things look really good. And when we're letting the teammates know what we need to be doing or what you're doing, everybody in the gym knows what you're doing. It makes it even tougher, both on the offensive and defensive end. Too many times people think of the communicating and the talking just as on the defensive end, but it's just as important on the offensive end for a team to communicate.
Yeah. What are your team's strengths and weaknesses?
Definitely the strengths are the multiple threats of guys being able to do things. It's multiple guys able to handle the ball, multiple guys that can rebound, multiple guys that are scoring threats, multiple guys that can just buckle down and play defense. And I think that athleticism of being able to rely on multiple guys makes us a very tough team, because you can't focus just on this player. You can't focus just on that player. Now we definitely have some individual strengths that teams can see, but as a team, you can't just go out and stop one guy and expect to beat us. Teams understand they got to make sure they come out and have to take away multiple points. The other one was weaknesses. Some things that weaknesses. This early in the season, I think one of the weaknesses is being consistent. We got to figure out how to be consistent, limit our lows. Really ride the highs a lot more and feed off each other's energy.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
And some things about the Rupp tournament coming up this next week. What are the keys to beating Minneapolis on Tuesday's game?
We're going to have to play well, because Minneapolis, is a team that has shown they're going to be successful, and so they have multiple guys that are averaging 7-8 rebounds a game. They have multiple guys averaging double-digit scoring right now, and they have some good experience on their team. So it's not going to be an easy game by any means. They like to get out and play, run a little bit. They'll shoot the ball. A couple guys for them can really shoot the ball, and so they're going to test how well we're going to rotate and defend, and then also how well we're going to execute on the offensive end to get great shots. But you go back, the Rupp tournament has always been a time in that mid-season that I feel like we've played well as of late as well. Winning the last 7 out of 8. We won 5 in a row here. Easton's been the MVP 3 years in a row. I think is awesome. So he's going to try to get it for the 4th year. Last year he won the 3-point contest as well. So it's a great tournament. It's a really good atmosphere in that gym. I think our guys get pumped up for it as well. It's a fun one to see some different teams, and will give us a good test here for the midseason.
What will be the key to win the tournament?
You're going to have to play 3 good games. We're the 6th seed right now, and none of the games are going to be easy. We don't have the advantage of being the top seed, playing a team that may have struggled. Right now, we're that team that teams are going to have to try and beat. But we got to play 3 really good games, because with the teams that are there, if you have a down night, you're taking chances that they're going to take advantage of you and knock you off. And being the winner of the tournament the last 5 years, the target's pretty good on our back, and rightfully so. The team's earned it that way. So it's a great tournament. The hospitality, the Halstead people are great. So it makes it a lot of fun just traveling a few minutes up the road to play.
You are playing multiple games in a couple day span. What will be the key to keeping your team's head in the game?
I think one of the biggest things is, taking care of the bodies even away from the court is a big one. But when it comes to tournament time, if a coach has to force guys to be focused, the coach has to, find unique ways to keep people engaged and after it, then we already have the wrong mentality. Then, that's something we messed up on months ago, if that's what it takes. So, we rely a lot on the players of understanding, hey, it's tournament time. All it takes is one bad game, and then all of a sudden you're in the consolation brackets as opposed to compete for the championship. So I put a lot of trust in our seniors. I put a lot of trust in the team of understanding how big each game is. And then, we'll take care of the X's and O's part and make sure we're prepared each night. And we'll rely on our seniors and our group to make sure the mental aspect and the hype and the energy level is there and ready to go. And our fans, that they help as well, in getting there.
Thank you for having this interview with us.
No problem.